Welcome in everybody to the Year 3 Dave Show Dynasty Season Preview.
Y'all want a preview of the upcoming Truckers season? Here you go.
Okay, that's Harry Downer with all the jokes. I'm your host, David Johnson.
Not only is this team not any good, but you are awful behind the sticks.
Now, Harry, things aren't all that bad around here. Dave Show's overall rating actually ranks tied for 4th with South Carolina among SEC East Division foes, and the Truckers' offensive overall rating ranks 2nd among the East, only behind Georgia.
Yeah, but don't forget to mention you got the 3rd worst rated defense in the entire conference, and none of this changes the fact that you're the one pushing the buttons, and you suck.
Hey, I'm getting better. Just check out these highlights from practice.
Hate to go AI on you, but practice? We talking about practice?
Hey, we're getting somewhere out here.
How about we see you do that in an actual game?
How about let's talk about how we got to these players on the field?
Oh, these guys are so screwed.
Let's start by talking about who's no longer here.
They're free at last.
Especially starting quarterback Lauren Patterson, who went on to be drafted in the 2nd round of the NFL draft.
You're kidding.
This despite throwing 24 interceptions last season.
You cost that kid millions. Shame on you.
Yeah, the 6'3", 210-pound Patterson ended up with an overall rating of 96.
You owe the Patterson family an apology.
Look, I'm sorry, but all we can do is learn from this and move on. So let's do that, starting with the new quarterbacks.
Oh yeah? Who are you gonna have star in the next interception montage?
Well, hopefully we won't have one of those after this year.
Oh, yeah, right. The sky is blue and Dave Show throws picks. That's just the way the world works.
Well, what we got working for us over here is a good old-fashioned quarterback controversy between juniors Keenan Bowman and Chance Graham.
They'd both drop out if they knew what was good for them.
Bowman is a big guy, his size comparable to Big Ben Roethlisberger, while Graham is only 6 foot 168, and it's weird. Bowman's injury rating is much lower than Graham's. You'd think it'd be the opposite based on their sizes. So if we start Bowman, I don't doubt that Chance would eventually get his chance.
Why wait for that? Throw some balls and put in the little guy.
Oh, we're doing it. Graham is faster, more elusive, and much more accurate. We think we got a skinny poor man's Johnny Manziel over here. Look out.
He better look out. His awareness is shit and so is yours. Not a good combination. Good luck with that.
Huh? What?
See what I mean?
No, I'm just getting excited for our senior running back Dominic Holloway. He's turned himself into a stud.
Too bad you don't know how to use them.
Yeah, last year wasn't the most productive year a running back has ever had.
That's putting it lightly.
But this year, we're looking at him to become a central figure of this offense.
That's not a terrible idea, what with all the interceptions you throw.
Right? We've also got junior Darrell Stanford in the backfield, who's just as fast as Holloway but 30 pounds heavier. To me, he's got the ideal profile for a Truckers running back.
Instead, the actual profile for a Truckers running back is hitting a wall.
And senior fullback Jamin Pratt returns. This blocking back has actually been a reliable ball carrier in short yardage situations the past couple of seasons.
Everybody loves Jamin.
Chris Berman over here.
Yeah, thanks.
Senior guards Ruben Logan and Jasper Pace round out the only returning starters along the offensive line. Both are starting for their 3rd year and both improved to an overall rating of 90, which ties Holloway as the highest overall rated players on the team.
That's the best you can do?
Senior tight end Kenton Crawford rounds out the 5 returning starters on offense. He's also starting for a 3rd season, and last year he led the Truckers in receiving yards with nearly 900.
Maybe somebody will actually cover that guy this year.
Gone are senior wide receivers Ty Poole, Lonnie Wilcox, and Edward Barber, with Wilcox getting picked in the 7th round of the NFL draft. Taking over for them are junior Seth Horn, who made several key catches last season, senior Jesse Holmes,
who didn't.
Yes. And stepping into the slot positions will be sophomore Roman Estes and the senior tight end Jason Joyce.
Because you couldn't get any other decent receivers to want to play here.
Well,
you're too busy throwing to the opposite team. And to top it off, your roster is only getting worse every year.
Allow me to go ahead and remind you that this offense's overall rating ranks second in the SEC East, only behind Georgia.
What does it matter with your button pushing giving the ball away at a record pace?
Let's talk about the defense.
Oh, yeah. With your button pushing there, nobody whiffs more on tackles than you.
Keep trying to push my buttons, Harry. It's not gonna work.
I'm just calling it what it is.
The Truckers typically line up in the 4-3 defense, and returning to the ends of the line are seniors Khalif Slaughter and Antoine Strong. Great names.
Not great players. Speaking of which, talk about your defensive tackles.
What do you want me to say? I know their best days aren't this year.
Or the year after that. These ain't exactly 5-star recruits we're looking at here. Alabama running backs are gonna roll Tide right through these guys.
Our plan is to move senior defensive end Tony Lindsay into the middle to hopefully alleviate some of that inside penetration.
Oh yeah, like he's any good.
On to the linebacking core. Gone is Sean Key, who was picked in the 4th round of the NFL draft. In his place will be junior Jimmy Britton, who got plenty of snaps last year as the second middle linebacker in the 3-4. And on the left side, we'll have senior Terrence Young starting, as junior Gavin Munoz will once again start at middle linebacker.
Because you can't recruit anybody any good to play there either.
You might remember Munoz as this giant monster wearing number 7. Turns out it was a glitch that he was so big. He's since trimmed down quite a bit.
Oh, you didn't notice your middle linebacker looked like an offensive guard?
I didn't know I could fix it.
How did you?
Simply changing his weight even just 1 pound and he deflated faster than a balloon.
For somebody who always complains about the game not being realistic enough.
Oh, come on, man. That's just part of the fun.
Hey, my name is Harry Downer. I don't do that word fun.
Let's move on to the corners. Akeem Ostrander opted to forego his senior season and make himself eligible for the NFL draft, and ended up getting picked in the 6th round.
Oh, good for him. That's another guy you made out to look like a fool. You owe his family an apology as well.
I'm sorry, but again, we learn and...
Yeah, just put the damn controller down when you're on defense. You're a lost cause back there. You're hopeless.
That's no fun.
What did I say earlier? What do I care about fun?
Anyways, gone are Ostrander, Randy Campbell, and the slot corner who was named to the 2nd team All-SEC, Timmy King. Timmy!
For that, I'm glad he's gone.
Moving up the depth chart are senior Tavita Savoy and junior Ashley Swanson. After that, we've got sophomore Jared Hines, and then junior Corey Weeks will actually be starting at free safety.
Because again, you can't bring anybody in to replace these guys.
Yeah, we've got a couple 3-star recruits that might need a little time to develop.
You ever gonna address recruiting on here?
Yeah,
Cause listen up everybody, you think the play on the field is bad, watch this guy try to convince kids to come here. They all want to get away as fast as they can. I mean, what is your pitch? Hey kid, want some candy?
No.
You're in the SEC and playing Orlando, Florida. Yet they'd all rather go play for your neighbors, those UFC Golden Knights.
We'll address recruiting here in a moment. Let's finish talking about the guys who are already here.
The Dude.
Senior strong safety Rashad McCormick rounds out the only 4 returning starters on the Dave Show defense.
And again, this defense's overall rating is 3rd worst in the entire SEC conference. Y'all ain't stopping anybody.
The sophomore specialists are back.
Again, you couldn't get anybody else.
Kicker Jason Utley and punter Ernie Washington are slightly better than last year.
That's still gonna be a problem.
Well, let's address how we intend to fix some of these problems.
You got a lot of them, starting with you.
Okay.
You should sign somebody up to play the games for you.
Now that wouldn't make sense because this is Dave Show University, not somebody else university. so you're stuck with me behind the controls, buddy. So now, for the first time ever on this channel, let's talk recruiting.
Do you even know what to say?
Not really, and that's where we can have our viewers step in. Look over my recruiting board here and leave feedback in the comments. Am I allocating too many or too few points to a guy? Am I reaching too far for somebody? Do I need to reach it all for another? I've been so bad at this that I've ended up with guys on my team with overall ratings in the 40s. So any advice anyone can offer me here, please do so in the comments section.
You know there's a recruiting tutorial in the game.
Yeah, David Pollock hasn't helped.
There's probably plenty of YouTube videos out there giving advice.
Yeah, but I'm more interested in our schedule.
Oh, brother.
In keeping with SEC tradition, all of our non-conference games are against inferior opponents, starting with the generic FCS Midwest Tuskers.
I don't think it's out of line to put you on upset alert right now.
I scheduled Nevada in honor of the state that I just recently moved to. I'm in Las Vegas now, but UNLV wasn't available to play that week. We'll definitely get them on here in the future because they're horrible.
You should do a UNLV Dynasty, you'd fit right in.
We open up conference play against our new protected SEC West rival, the Kansas Jayhawks. Yes, we've got Kansas in the SEC. You can see all of our conference realignments in our recently uploaded video titled Power 4 Conference Realignment.
I think it's safe to say that the SEC network's not sending Tim Tebow to that suckfest.
Next up, we visit Georgia for the second year in a row. Last year was an overtime thriller in the rain. Remember that one, Harry?
Oh yeah. Georgia dropped a bunch of interceptions that day. He kept it on an easier skill level.
Dude, it was on All-American.
If it's not on Heisman, it's cheating.
Anyways, next up, we scheduled the Georgia State Panthers to come on down. With that game sandwiched in between our trip to Georgia and Alabama. Roll Truckers, baby!
Oh, truckers are gonna get rolled alright.
Follow that up with Kentucky coming to town for the second year in a row. Last year's game was a wild shootout.
Yeah, you guys managed to make Kentucky football look good.
2 weeks later, we welcome in South Carolina for the second year in a row. Last year, they came in here ranked 3rd, and it took a last-second field goal to put us away.
And a lot of cock jokes.
Yes, we did do a lot of that. South Carolina, the defending SEC champions, come into this year unranked.
The cocks are hanging low.
Yeah, nicely done. Our next opponent, we visit Tennessee for the second year in a row. And we have yet to even come close to beating the Vols in either of our first 2 seasons.
Even more shocking, you guys managed to make Tennessee football look viable.
Next up, we visit Missouri for the first time ever, and they'll be looking to get at us as we initially replaced them in the SEC when we first started this Dave Show Dynasty series.
Yeah, in real life in the 2013 and 14 seasons, Mizzou won 14 games in the SEC. Meanwhile, Dave's show and this here video game in those years have won 4.
We follow that up with the Florida Gators coming to town for the second year in a row.
And you're 0 for 2 against them.
And as always, we end the year with Vanderbilt.
And you're 0 for 2 against them, Vanderbilt. That's perfect scheduling. Let the 2 bottom feeders crap it out at the end of the year.
So let me guess. You've got the Truckers finishing with a worse record than last year.
Well, your team overall rating compares favorably in half of your games, but I just don't trust you behind the controller. High end, I got you repeating a 5-7 season. Low end, you'll be 4-8 like your first year.
Thanks, I think. That'll wrap up the Year 3 Dave Show Dynasty season preview.
It's finally over.
Let us know in the comments section what you're most excited about in the upcoming season.
The end.
And also, don't forget to leave feedback on how we've got our recruiting board set up. Next up on here, we'll start playing the games. So be sure to subscribe and click that little bell so you don't miss a moment of the action. For Harry Downer, I'm David Johnson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next show.